Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Andre Fili versus Cub Swanson. My prediction for the fight is Cub Swanson wins. The gun to my head, I'd go with him winning by decision, but if Andre Fili's going to lose, a knockout is always possible, and it's becoming increasingly more possible these days. But Cub Swanson, I'm aware he's almost 41 years old, and that's why I kind of feel foolish for picking him, and I feel even more foolish for trusting his durability as the basis for that prediction. But he's looked pretty durable, Cub Swanson. He's been taken out only 3 times by TKO, and excuse me, even though 2 of those are in his last 2 losses, they are 2 excellent kickers. Giga Chikadze got him out of there with a body shot in a minute. And Jonathan Martinez, one of the best leg kickers, got him out of there with leg kicks in 10 minutes or whatever. So even though those are 2 finished losses, they are specifically to kicks. And Andre Fili, not that he can't kick, but he does not have the kicking. He's not in the realm of either one of those guys. So I think Cub would be able to stand up to the danger of Andre Fili. And of course, the one time Cub was knocked out was a flying double jumping knee knockout from Jose Aldo in like 10 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever. Jose came out of the gate red hot and clipped him with the hardest possible punch he could, strike he could throw. And that was enough to get Cub Swanson out of there. And again, that was back in 2006 or whatever. 2009, let's say. But Cub is 41 years old, so I can't say I'd be totally surprised if his chin just failed him and the lights got shut out with one punch. But I'm still not expecting it. Andre Fili, even though he showed in his last win against Lucas Almeida, he can bring the danger. He had to remind everybody he's got some danger in him, but he doesn't have the danger of the guys that have finished Cub Swanson. So I think if he was to get a finish, it would be solely because of Cub Swanson being 41 years old. But Andre Fili's the guy who's been knocked out 3 times. All 3 are strikes against his chin. One was a jumping switch kick to Yair Rodriguez, or a flying switch kick. Either way, it's as fucking dangerous as it gets from one of the most dangerous guys in the world. And the other 2 knockouts are in the last few years to Joe Anderson Brito and Dan Ige in his last fight. Now, those are 2 excellent, dangerous fighters, but it's still, not something you could ignore that he suffered 2 major concussions in round 1 in the last 2 years. So, major strike against the chin of Andre Fili. And you'd hear me harp on that if he was fighting somebody more dangerous than Cub Swanson. Cub's very dangerous, but he's 41-year-old dangerous, which is a little different. Each guy's been submitted a few times. Andre Fili was submitted way back by Max Holloway with a guillotine choke, and he was also submitted by Godofredo Pepe, or Godofredo Castro, as his last name is, with a triangle choke. He was a very good submission artist, and that happened in the first few fights for Andre Fili's UFC career. He's had a lot of experience since then. Cub Swanson, he's been submitted 7 times, and they're to killers. This is a guy that's been in there with the top fighters in the world for a long time now, over 15 years, and that's where all of his losses take place. He was submitted way back by Jens Pulver and by and Jens the guillotine in like 30 seconds, and he was submitted by Ricardo Lamas, who was one of the best featherweights in his day. And since then, he was only defeated by whoever. Max Holloway got him with the same guillotine. Frankie Edgar got him in round 5 with a face crank. Renato Moicano rear naked choked him after dropping him with a jab. And Brian Ortega got him with a guillotine. Brian G. City Ortega, who's just an absolute killer. So he's been submitted, and it looks like a big weakness on paper, but these are to some of the best fighters in the world over multiple generations, and I'd say Cub Swanson shouldn't be submitted here by Andre Fili. So I think the primary physical weakness or potential for getting finished is Andre Fili getting finished by the power of Cub Swanson. And on the feet in a kickboxing bout, I think it's going to be close. I think Andre Fili might bring a little more volume. I don't even know what the numbers say, but Cub Swanson will bring more power. And Cub has shown on many different occasions, including his last fight against Hakeem Dawodu, he will scratch and claw for a win. I still trust he's got all those traits in him. I think if Andre Fili is able to take down Cub Swanson, he wouldn't go through him with grappling, but he could neutralize Cub. Andre Fili's mixed in takedowns in some of his bigger wins as of late, particularly the Bill Algeo win and quite a few years back now against Charles Jourdain. It's not like it was a total 30-27 shutout, but it was the difference maker in those fights. And here, if it is a close kickboxing bout on the feet, the guy with the takedown could win this fight. And even though it could come from either guy, I would expect it these days to come from Andre Fili. So I'm slightly favoring Cub Swanson, but there's a lot of trepidation there. And I think if he doesn't get a knockout, it's going to be a really close fight. And of course, if anybody's getting finished, I would go with Andre Fili and his chin getting finished. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.